The Cardinals say farewell to the bye week and hello to the start of the CCIW schedule, with Elmhurst College set to head to Benedetti Worley Stadium on Saturday night. We take a look at the first 4 weeks of the season and preview the road ahead right now on the Red Zone. Welcome to the Red Zone. I'm Mark Dahlquist. Joining me to start things off this week is head coach for the Cardinals, John Thorne. Coach, thanks for stopping in.
I'm glad to be here, Mark. Let's talk about some good football stuff.
That's right. You know, and the Cardinals have had a lot of good football the past couple of weeks. You guys started off with that tough loss. But what do you think is the biggest difference on this team between week 1 and now?
Well, we have more players that have been healthy to get those important reps in practice. Which is starting to help. We're still trying to get some of those guys back into football shape because they were out for several weeks.
Right.
And the other thing is, I think this week coming up, we're going to see our pad level by our offensive and defensive line get much lower. And if that happens, then we're ready to start, playing some really good football.
And how hard is it to get some of those guys that have been out into game speed, because practice and game speed is completely different?
It's very different, and we're always in this big debate as coaches is, do we want to let our number ones go full speed against each other? And, usually I always say no, and because it helps to develop your younger guys. And they just keep getting better and better and better as year goes on. But you do all of a sudden get there on Saturday and things are moving.
With the injuries, you guys have been able to sort of create more depth because more guys are getting reps in games.
That's helped a lot, because you always want to have that next group ready. The guys have done such a wonderful job, winning these last 6 conference titles. But in order to keep that going, you constantly have to be bringing on those next guys.
Right.
And the more experience they get, the better off it is for everybody. So we try to look at injuries as not a bad thing, but it's a great opportunity for the next guy.
Right. And how much did it help you guys this week, having the bye week before you start the grueling CCIW schedule?
Well, the guys were a little shocked. They said, I thought this was a bye week, because we worked them pretty hard because we missed too much conditioning. So we tried to do a little bit more conditioning. We really worked hard with our linemen, getting the pad level lower and their footwork more. We did a few more tackling drills than what they were expecting and so forth. So they were a little stiff and sore, and but they handled it very well. I was very, very happy with the way they got through the week. And yesterday we started off with a lot of great enthusiasm. So I think the guys are ready to take on this CCIW, challenge.
Well, the Cardinals worked hard on the practice field and also worked hard in the classroom. We look at how the team puts the student in student athlete on this week's Cardinal Corner. As the Cardinals start their quest for a 7th straight CCIW title, there's plenty of work put in by the players that you don't see on game day.
It's pretty much like a full-time job, I'd say. If you're going to all the meetings, practices, everything, it's about 5 hours a day. It's about 30 hours a week.
Those are just the hours to be great on the gridiron. Add a full class schedule to that, and it would be plenty for most. But linebacker Will Sayer is also putting in multiple days a week interning at Argonne National Laboratory, thanks to a professor who brought it to his attention last spring.
I got a notice about a job opening at Argonne, and I went in the next day and told the class about it and invited them to apply for it and see me if they wanted to apply for it so we could work on their application together.
And all Cardinal athletes have the ability to get pointers as well as other internship or job opportunities thanks to the Career Development Center on campus located in Benedetti Worley Stadium.
Employers love athletes because of that, you know, their time management skills, their planning skills. If the student works with us in advance, we can plan around their schedule and connect them to opportunities that would be appropriate.
Luckily for Will, he chose an internship that works around his schedule.
You know, they put school and football, you know, they know, you know, how busy it is, so they're okay with me picking my own hours.
And a solid relationship between faculty and coaches makes sure athletes succeed in the classroom before the first whistle blows.
If an athlete is slacking off a little in class, all I need to do is make a phone call to the coaches. And the next day, that kid is in my office saying, please don't ever call the coach again. I will do whatever it takes. So the coaches really support the academic mission of the college. They know that that's the most important thing about why the students are here.
While another conference championship is near the top of every Cardinals to-do list, the whole faculty and staff are there to make sure they first check off making the grade.
Coach, how much pride do you guys take as a coaching staff to know that you guys have All-Americans in the classroom as well?
Oh my gosh, that's the most important thing. You know, our philosophy is faith first, family, academics, you know, and we've had some wonderful guys that have helped their teammates understand the importance of how you go to class, how you attack the rigor of college academics. It's a lot different than high school, so we're really happy when we see them do well.
You know, and I'm sure they're juggling a lot of hours, but you guys as coaches are juggling a lot of hours too. How does this week off sort of help you guys prepare for Elmhurst?
Well, it seems like a long time, you know, to prepare for one team, because we were just starting to get into that routine of you got to get it done in 1 week.
Right.
So hopefully we didn't overthink this whole process, and we came up with too many ideas for the players to be able to handle and for them to be able to play fast.
Well, that can be a challenge for you as coaches. Sometimes when you have more time, sometimes you overthink things, and the way that worked the first time, 7 days later, it may be completely different.
It's a fun challenge, and we've enjoyed. It's been a little bit more relaxing. You know, you don't feel quite as much stress as you do in the 1 week preparation.
Well, we look forward to seeing you guys respond to that challenge this weekend. Keep it right here on the Red Zone, because we continue to break down the Cardinals with Coach John Thorne right after this.
Hunger is a problem in our community.
I've got an idea.
But we can help by raising awareness and working together with friends and neighbors. We can make a difference. Your donations of food, money, or time will help end hunger in our community.
Be a part of it.
We're a part of it!
I'm a part of it.
To be a part of it, contact Loaves and Fishes Community Food Pantry.
Welcome back to the Red Zone. We're with head coach for the Cardinals, John Thorne. So, Coach, you guys have Elmhurst this week, and that's a team that's undefeated right now, and they're able to put some points on the board.
Yeah, this is our bowl game, and this is called the Bird Bowl, when the Blue Jays are battling the Cardinals, see who has the most feathers left on their bodies by the end of the game. It's a really fun, exciting game each year. Coach Lester played for me in high school, and he's best friends with Coach Jeff, and so we get to talk to him a lot, you know. And it's a really good challenge. We're looking forward to it. It should be a fun day.
You know, in Elmhurst, they have a lot of guys on their team that are back, and some guys that have, you know, been starters for multiple years. In particular, Scotty Williams, he led the CCIW in rushing last year, so that's somebody you guys have got to be focused on in the backfield. He's a very good running back, and there's no question about that. But we're even more impressed with the offensive linemen in front of him. They understand the whole zone blocking concept. They're very quick with their feet. They don't make a lot of mistakes. You have to use good technique. You've got to stay low. You've got to fight across the top of the blocks and still find this little tiny running back that can go like that, you know, real easy. And it makes it hard to keep him under control. And Coach Lester has a great scheme in terms of play action passing. And
So it'll be very exciting to see how our defense deals with their offense.
You know, and not just Williams in the backfield, but they also return their starting quarterback, Joe Furco. I mean, how do you guys sort of deal with that 1-2 punch? I mean, it's one thing when a team is really good at running the ball, but not so much at passing. But Elmhurst can really do it both ways. You know,
Joe Furco has not even thrown one interception yet this year, so that's a pretty great start to a season. His passing percentage is very high. So you're exactly right, Mark. There, we are going to have to be on our mark. We have to know our drops, get in the right zones with linebackers and defensive backs to control the passing. But if you worry too much about passing and forget about that running back, you're in big trouble, and the other way around. So it's going to be a really fun battle for our defense especially.
Well, and looking at Elmhurst defense, they might have a weakness there in their pass defense. They gave up the most yards in the conference last year. Do the Cardinals look to exploit that? Maybe go to the air a little bit more in this one?
Well, I'm not sure yet. We see some areas where we hope we can be able to throw the ball and be pretty safe throwing it there, you know. But we like to run the football, you know, and so it'll probably be a pretty normal blend of about, you know, 60% run and 40% pass.
Well, there's probably a reason you guys like to run the football. We talk about it every week, but you got a number of guys in the backfield that can really move the chains. How have the running backs really helped set the tone this season, especially, you know, in the games?
Well, Nick Kukok has really had a fabulous, especially his last 2 games. And he's made some really special runs. And I think if we can get the offensive linemen back on track with our zone blocking, we were off just a little bit last week especially. Nick had to bounce a lot of things. He'll have even more opportunities. And then, of course, you've got you know, Jordan Tassio and Ryan Kent, and the list can go on and on. There's a few more after that that do very well too. So we're happy with where we're sitting right now, but we're not satisfied with how we are improving the running game each week. Last week we slipped backwards just a little tiny bit, so we've got to get back on track.
Well, and the running game has really sort of helped set up the passing game. You guys don't really have that golden #1 receiver, the go-to guy, but you have a number of receivers that are really quality, and Spencer Stanik's been able to move the ball around to a lot of different receivers this year.
Yeah, he distributes the ball very well. We've had a little bit of trouble catching the football. We've had too many drops so far this year in games and in practice, and we're working very hard to try and get back to catching the ball. You know, a lot of things are going through their minds, and the offense is very complex, so is the defense, you know, so sometimes I worry that they're having to think too much, and it's slowing them down. It's taking away from technique. You know, they're not able to focus on catching the ball and so on. So that's another area where we're really looking for some huge improvement. So we've had 2 weeks. Let's see if any of what we've been practicing will work. I hope it does.
Well, we hope to see the improvements on the field this weekend, Coach. Best of luck against Elmhurst.
All right, thanks.
Up next, the Red Zone welcomes 2 members of the team that hope to help the Cardinals dominate the line of scrimmage. Don't go away.